What up, cucks? Some breaking news today. CM Punk has been fired from AEW. Now, normally I would not be happy that someone lost their job, but I mean, how many problems is this asshole going to cause for every company he works for before people just realize that he really is not worth it? The juice is not worth the squeeze, motherfucks. CM Punk sucks. He's never been good. He's always been annoying, and he's always been boring. In my opinion, he represents the turning point of wrestling going from cool, heroic like characters to people like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. You know what I mean? I saw an interview with Daniel Bryan where he's talking about how him and The Miz are diametrically opposed, and Daniel Bryan's like, I am wrestling and he's sports entertainment. Shut the fuck up. No, you're not wrestling. Shut your mouth, Daniel Bryan. He's like 5'6", like 135 pounds, and he's like, I'm a wrestler, I'm a technician. No, you're not. Miz would beat the shit out of Daniel Bryan in wrestling, in a fight, in hopscotch, in basketball, in anything. So enough of this, oh, Daniel Bryan can do a leg lock. He can do it if someone gives him their leg, but if Miz starts kicking the shit out of him, he's not going to do dick. You know what I'm saying? So people like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk have been pushed down our throats for decades now, right? So as far as I'm concerned, for AEW, this is a good thing. You know, I'm not saying that I'm happy he lost his job, you know, and I understand that initially some viewers might turn off their TV if there's no CM Punk, but the reality is what the reality is. Just like TNA back in the day would have benefited from not signing some legends, like Scott Steiner, for example, right? They would have benefited by pushing, like, I don't know, Daniels or someone when they were in their prime, or even Samoa Joe, like, actually pushing him. AEW can do the same thing. Maybe now it's time to finally push Powerhouse Hobbs, for example, or Brian Cage, because a main spot is not being taken by CM Douche. The problem here is this, right? CM Punk continuously and consistently undermines this company and the owner. He really thinks it's his show. So I'm really happy that Tony Khan found those two little pellets that he calls balls and finally fired this cuck. I am sick and tired of this cocksucker appearing on TV and just week after week is embarrassing himself. He can't wrestle. He's not good at what he does, and he never has been. He has these shitty fake-looking kicks. He's not athletic. He's not believable. He's not charismatic. I don't know what the world sees in this asshole. Oh, he's straight edge. Oh, he's against the grain. He's anti-establishment. Yeah, so is Stone Cold, except Stone Cold would beat the hell out of you. CM Punk goes out there and says, your wife controls the decision making, Triple H. Yeah, you know, like in real life, it's like Stone Cold beating up Vince McMahon was believable because Stone Cold is a tough guy, even though Vince McMahon is huge as well. Like CM Punk having any kind of authority over Triple H is ridiculous. Triple H would murder him. You know what I'm saying? The Miz would murder him. Right? He's unathletic. I would murder him. You understand me? Everyone would beat up CM Punk. So the fact that he put Jack Perry, who's like somehow, I don't even know how he's a wrestler, he's like 95 pounds. He put him in a headlock. It says absolutely nothing. Oh, CM Punk had to be broken up. Oh, he put Jack Perry in his place. Yeah, Jack Perry, like a high schooler can beat up Jack Perry. You know what I'm saying? Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Enough of this horseshit. Time to take this company seriously. Man, like they've had their arc. They've had their goofball arc. You know what I'm saying? These first 4 years, they've had their goofball arc of, oh, Cody Rhodes is like a main eventer. You know what I mean? And that's transitioned to something only for Cody Rhodes. He's the only one thus far who has benefited from this company. Everyone else has been held back. Kenny Omega and the Young Cucks could have been in NXT and could have been feuding with Carmelo Hayes, which would have been much more entertaining than Kenny Omega feuding with Dean Ambrose for fucking 4 years, or Pac. You know what I'm saying? All these degenerate losers who couldn't cut it in WWE. They could have at least had a shot. They could have, when they're on their deathbeds, they could tell their kids and grandkids, I was in WWE once. But no, now Kenny Omega has to say, oh, I didn't even make it to NXT because I was in a AW Collision and I was wrestling in AAA in Mexico that 5 people watch. Nobody gives a flying fuck. Everyone else has been held back. Right? And people that have been doing the holding back are the CM Punks and Daniel Bryans of the world who have come there and have, just for a paycheck, they've contributed nothing to this company. I haven't seen Daniel Bryan in months, as far as I'm concerned, do anything relevant. Maybe he's been there wrestling Wheeler Yuta on a throwaway episode, but he hasn't done anything, right? Same thing with CM Punk. Tony Khan can keep talking about how he drew in all these viewers. That was just the initial buzz. CM Punk sees that this is a sinking ship, so he does this. Now, let me provide the alternative theory, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? I know that All Out at the end of the month? When's All Out? We just had All In, but there's an All Out, I think, right? I think that's like the next pay-per-view. That one apparently is going to be in Chicago. So the fans are going to be brutal. They're going to be chanting for CM Punk because Chicago wrestling fans are just nerds. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, when I went to Chicago, I thought it was going to be this war zone like I heard. It was just a bunch of liberals walking around drinking lattes. You know what I'm saying? Like there was nothing crazy there. Maybe I didn't go to the right neighborhoods, or maybe I did go to the right neighborhoods. Cuts. But the point I'm trying to make here, motherfucks, is this, right? They're going to boo AEW. But I wouldn't be shocked if AEW, if Tony Khan decides to hire CM Punk one more time, right? And has him come back at at the pay-per-view in Chicago, right? No matter what, the fans are going to expect that. So he may as well just do that, right? That may be the entire premise here. I'm not saying it's a work or anything, but I'm saying it's a legitimate firing. And Tony Khan's like, all right, I'm gonna try to get it back for All Out, but I'm not gonna tolerate this nonsense, right? Or maybe it is like a quasi work, not the fight with Jack Perry, but maybe they're trying to leverage that and they're like, all right, we're gonna just fire him, but he's gonna come back. We're gonna fire him under the premise that he's gonna come back for this big show and maybe reintroduce himself as like a main eventer, because that would get like a sick pop, right? CM Punk coming back to AEW after being fired, like that would, unfortunately that would add to his little like rebel persona. But the reality is, cocksuckers, nobody should give a flying fuck about CM Punk. This guy is poisonous to wrestling. This guy is single-handedly responsible for holding back so many talented people like The Miz and people that have been, for some reason, they've been like passed over for him. I was at WrestleMania, whatever the fuck, I think it was 27, I don't even remember, or 28, whatever, the one where it was John Cena versus The Rock, right? And one of the matches, match of the night, was Undertaker versus CM Punk. And I couldn't believe it. Like, people were cheering for CM Punk. And I'm like, this is just absurd. It's like, you have The Undertaker in there, who's like a bona fide legend. And then you have CM Douche, who's like a mid-carder, basically. I don't care if he had like a 20-year title reign. He's a mid-carder wrestling The Undertaker, right? And I'm just like, this should be a throwaway match. It should be basically a squash match. Undertaker just picks him up, hits the last ride, picks him up, hits the chokeslam, picks him up, hits the fucking tombstone, and then hits him with the Hell's Gate, locks that some bitch in, and then CM Punk just passes out or something. I don't give a fuck, Or maybe he just taps out and then quits like he did. So, my personal opinions aside, from a business standpoint, this is not a good look for CM Punk. I don't know why anyone would want him in their company ever again. But even if they did, it doesn't really matter, because the truth of the matter is that if they do, they're pretty much betting against themselves, right? This guy has just ruined this company. God knows the crazy amount of money they've paid him. Probably over $1 million for like 1 year of his, I think he's been around for a year, right? Maybe he's been around for a little bit longer. Probably paid him like $1 million to come in there, have like a few fucking matches with like 5 from the Dark Order, or fucking, who else did he feud with? Like probably some, Luther or El Serpentico or some bullshit like that, right? And then have his shitty match with MJF, which led to absolutely nothing, and then cut his little Chicago promo. It all felt forced. None of it felt like it led to anything, right? It was literally just him making a return. At this point, he's like a John Cena who just comes back, and like he's just known for coming back, just like The Rock or John Cena or Stone Cold or any other one of the legends. Except the problem is, motherfucks, CM Punk, unlike those guys, is not a legend. Nobody gives a shit. Or I mean, people do apparently, but nobody should give a shit, right? Nobody cares that CM Punk got released. I don't see why they would. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he was going anywhere. You know what I mean? As like for God's sakes, he's fucking feuding with Samoa Joe for the real world title. Okay, he won that. Now what? Who's the real world champion? Do we have to establish a new real world champion? Does Samoa Joe still have like a claim to that now because CM Punk left and he was the last guy to face him? Or can we fucking focus on the actual hierarchy as it's presented? But of course, how can we focus on the natural hierarchy? You have to have like a CM Punk in there to be the quote unquote real champion, because your actual champion is MJF and he's actually feuding with Adam Cole, which is just absurd. That should be like opening match. That's like a mid-card feud in NXT. You know what I mean? Like if Braun Breaker is main eventing against like, I don't know, Baron Corbin, right? You could put like Adam Cole versus MJF as a match for the Heritage Cup or something, some bullshit like that. So as far as I'm concerned, this company is even more in the grave than I thought. CM Punk contributed absolutely nothing except for getting himself a nice paycheck, so kudos to him for that. and now he's gone. Will he be back? Who the fuck knows? I guess we'll have to see. Well, I guess we'll have to tune into All Out, except fuck that. I'm not watching that garbage. With that being said, motherfuckers, that's all I have to say about this. Kaksakis.